Houston did a little guard swap this morning. They did a pop swap, as I call it, Cart. They swapped out Pop Isaacs, who had been verbally committed to Houston since the beginning of the transfer portal cycle, for their own returning starting point guard, Milos Uzan, who has just announced that he is withdrawing from the NBA draft formally and will play for Houston next season. Pop Isaacs is now moving on to Texas A&M. The way that this news was distributed this morning was that Pop had committed to Texas A&M, and everyone was like, "Wait a second, that has to mean Uzan's back, right?" I think Joe Tipton himself, who put out the Pop Isaacs Texas A&M tweet, like 4 minutes after his first graphic, said, "You have to wonder if this means that Milos Uzan will return for Houston." And then, yeah, just 6 minutes later, he had the Milos Uzan graphic already made. So either Tipton's turnaround times are special, or he was kind of playing with his words there, knowing that Milos Uzan was coming back to Houston. What do you make of all of this? Is this a Houston win? Is Pop Isaacs in a better spot? What is this?
Uh, Three things here. One, can I be critical of you for 1 second?
Sure.
Papa Swap was right there.
Papa swap.
Yeah, like Papa Shop, but Papa Swap.
But people do prop swap, and I kind of like pop swap.
Okay, I kind of like that too.
Because
I'll allow
Papa
it.
swap sounds like you and I change places.
That's true. Hand up on me. Second of all, I'm a big fella. I'm gonna go ahead and scoot over here on my Houston bandwagon. You're welcome now. I know that was holding you back. You can come on back in. I understand that that was holding you back. Papa Isaac is no longer there. Would you like to come back into one of my number one teams?
I don't think I was ever fully out. I had him in the number one realm. But yes, this is a humongous upgrade for them.
Humongous upgrade. Okay, good. I'm welcoming you. Not a lot of space. I just scooted over and didn't make much space. We got to address that at a later date. And last but not least, uh, good move for Pop. I think like
Yeah.
Pop playing for Texas A&M and Bucky ball. I don't think I could pick a better spot for him. Like this is gonna work. This is one of the rare videos I think where we get on here and everyone shake hands. Good on you. Everyone go to your spot. Feel good about yourself. Go to your corner. Enjoy yourself. Pop, you'll be great over there with Texas A&M and Bucky ball. That's a perfect system for him, I think. Samson and Houston get back Uzan, right? And they were in the number one talks. Now they are, either one or two, I think, in the country, and um, everyone's good about it.
Yeah, it's a total win-win. And we just did the PJ Haggerty announcement video where we called it a lose-lose. Everybody lost.
Yeah,
It sucks for everybody. So this is a nice breath of fresh air for us. I know that we've been, is it fair to say Pop Isaac's haters on the channel in the past?
critics.
Critics is the right word. I have no animosity towards Pop in my heart or anything like that. I'm just not a huge fan of the way he plays basketball. That's it. I think there's some empty calories in the way he plays offensively, and I didn't love where it was headed with Creighton. I thought Creighton got better once he departed the lineup for the most part, and I don't really know what to make of it yet. There's some baggage there, but I think this is essentially the perfect place you could have handpicked for him if you want it to work and you want the team to potentially win. I've talked about it elsewhere. Buckyball to me, enormous gimmick. Is what it is. I'm not saying Bucky McMillan can't coach because hand up, when I was a JV head coach for 4 years in the Kalamazoo area, I had a lot of gimmicks.
A lot
Okay.
of
I
gimmicks.
was I prided myself on being the gimmicks coach. So I fully support. If you find a gimmick that works and you run it into the ground as your thing, that's good coaching, in my opinion. But that's Buckyball. The entire system inflates individual statistics. It relies on individual bucket getting at a prolific rate. And there's just a huge history of this. I did it in our Trey Fort video. Trey Fort, who left Samford for Michigan State. There's an enormous history of all of Bucky's players that have left to go elsewhere. They have a career year in the Buckyball system, and then they're horrible elsewhere. So, look, I think you put a guy, say what you want about Pop. He's been a guy that's been a prolific, productive scorer in other systems. You put him in the Buckyball system, like, Card, I don't think it's out of the question here that Pop Isaacs leads the SEC in scoring this year. There's a world where he's like a 23 a game scorer for Texas A&M. Now, I don't know if Mackenzie Mbako or Rylan Griffin will be all that happy about it, but that's for Bucky to figure out. And I just think he's going to get buckets in that system, and Texas A&M suddenly becomes a really interesting team. On the flip side, Milos Uzan is a winner. Winner. The perfect possible lead guard for a team that wants to win a national championship. And how many times have you and I come on here in the last 2, 3 years talked about the year two transfer jump? Guys that come back for their second year in a system and they
Love
were
it.
good at the end of their first year. Milos was one of the top 3 point guards in the country for the final 2 months of last season. He's a huge reason why Houston made the national championship game.
Mhm.
And I expect this kid to be an All American next year. I expect him to be the best player on Houston next year on a team that is loaded, by the way. And he suddenly takes the pressure off of all of the freshmen because
Yeah.
now Harwell, now Sinak, now Kingston Flemings can kind of just pick their spots. Milos is the every possession guy. I adore this from all parties. It's a masterful move.
Yeah, honestly, I've been a big Houston guy. This makes you just love it even more. I think all the points that you said, typically, we love, like you said, we love the guys that are year up transfers, not even up transfers, but just transfers in year two at the point guard position specifically. And Uzan made a jump towards the end of last season, which you pointed out, which was a big part of Houston's success and them making the championship game. You got to think that that's going to continue into this season. It's perfect in all regards. They get back him and Sharp, who are like these older, seasoned, productive guys, along with like JoJo Tugler and some other bench guys that I think will contribute. And then you combine that with the talented freshmen. It's a perfect situation for Sampson. Um, and if obviously he wasn't able to get over the hump last season. He'll be one of the favorites to do so this season.
Should they be the favorite? Up until now, you and I have had Purdue collectively at one. I've had them more isolated at the top than you have. At points, you've talked about Purdue and Houston, and you've called 9 other teams number one at some point.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm thinking about some shifting at my top of my top 25 right now. Where are you at with this?
So I'm gonna go back and forth. Um, and I've been even with the whole number one team bit thing. I think Purdue has been firmly atop the rankings, right? And I really don't necessarily expect that to move that much, but I think personally, given what happened last season, even with the additions that Purdue has made, I think I put Houston at one to start the season, preseason. They get all these players back. They went to the national championship game last season. I know teams get, national championship bumps if they win it. I think there is a bump in order for Houston, given the fact that they got to that point. They beat that Purdue team last year. Um, Now I think it's going to go back and forth, like I said, but I think those are the only two teams now that should be in contention. Whereas before, I thought it was Purdue, and then you work with everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to think on it a little more. This is a quick reaction to the news this morning, but my gut tells me quickly I would have Houston out in front right now. If I had to split hairs, I think it would be Houston 1, Purdue 2 for me. Um, you're just not supposed to return this much from a team that went to a national championship game. I mean, it's not all that different than Purdue, right? Like Purdue went to the title game with Edie, lost Edie, but brought back Braden, Fletcher, TKR. They were very good. The difference is like Houston didn't lose an Edie. They lost Jawan Roberts and LJ Cryer, good players, fine, but replaceable players. You bring back Sharp, you bring back Uzan, you bring back Tugler. Like that's 3 guys that have combined for 80 to 90 total minutes between the 3 of them, giving you
Lo- lo-
good minutes.
lost like 10 games total the past 3 years.
Yeah, they're tough, and you know what the defense is with those 3. And then in between them now, it's it's just like 3 5 stars. Like we
Yeah.
expect Sinak to be a stud. We expect Harwell and Flemings to be studs. My fear with Houston before Uzan was here was that they were going to be too reliant on the freshmen. Those guys would have to be primary options. They don't have to be now with Milos in the fold. So Yeah, I just think they're probably deserving of being number one. I feel like them and Purdue played in the Sweet 16. It was basically a totally even game. Houston won on a buzzer beater. And if you look at how both teams addressed this offseason, I think Purdue returned a little more, but Houston arguably added more. Houston adding three five-star players is like ridiculous. And I don't know. It's a two-team race at the top for me right now. Maybe we can do more on it later this week when we have more time to think on it. But gut reaction is Houston is now the team to beat.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say.